You've probably met someone like this. They twist your words. They blame you for things you didn't do. They make you feel smaller without ever raising their voice. And the strange part is, sometimes they genuinely believe they're the victim. You walk away confused, not just hurt, but disoriented. Because it didn't feel like they were lying. It felt like they were living in a completely different reality. And the unsettling question is, why? Why would someone distort reality in a way that damages the very relationships they need to survive? To understand that, you have to step inside their mind, not to excuse it, but to see the machinery behind it. At first, toxicity doesn't look like toxicity. It looks like insecurity, like defensiveness, like someone who takes everything personally. You mention a small concern. They react like it's an attack. You set a boundary. They act like you betrayed them. Over time, you stop speaking freely. I want to tell you something important. Subscribe to the channel. The team behind this channel puts real effort. Improve your life. You start calculating every sentence, not because you're weak, but because your nervous system is learning. Learning that honesty leads to emotional danger. This is called behavioral conditioning. Your brain begins associating truth with punishment, so it adapts. You become quieter, more careful, less yourself. And here's the part most people don't realize. Toxic behavior isn't random. It follows patterns rooted in survival psychology, patterns that often began long before you arrived. From the outside, toxic people look powerful, controlling, dominant, unapologetic. But internally, the experience is often the opposite. Their brain is constantly scanning for threat, not physical threat, emotional threat, rejection, shame, loss of control. This process is driven by a structure deep in the brain called the amygdala. Its job is simple: detect danger and respond fast. The problem is, the amygdala doesn't distinguish well between physical danger and emotional discomfort. To the nervous system, shame can feel like physical injury. Criticism can feel like extinction. So the brain defends itself, not logically, automatically. This is where toxic behaviors begin, not as strategy, but as protection. This is the reframe most people miss. Toxic people are not protecting their ego. They are protecting their nervous system, their sense of emotional survival. Because somewhere in their past, emotional safety was unpredictable, inconsistent, or absent. This creates what psychology calls insecure attachment. When attachment is insecure, the brain never fully relaxes. It stays alert, hyper-vigilant, watching for signs of abandonment or rejection, even when none exist. So when you say something neutral, their brain doesn't hear neutrality, it hears threat. And the mind does something fascinating. It alters perception to reduce emotional pain. This is called a defense mechanism, not a conscious lie, but a subconscious distortion to preserve stability. Here's a simple mental model. Imagine the mind as a security system, not designed for truth, designed for safety. If the system is too sensitive, it triggers alarms constantly, even when nothing is wrong. A harmless comment becomes an attack. A small disagreement becomes betrayal. Because to their nervous system, emotional safety feels fragile. And fragile systems prioritize protection over accuracy. This leads to behaviors like projection, blame shifting, and gaslighting, not always as manipulation, but as nervous system regulation. If they can move the threat outside themselves, they feel safer inside, even if it damages reality, even if it damages you. But this raises another question. If toxic behavior is protective, why does it become so consistent? Why does it repeat? The answer lies in reinforcement. The brain learns from relief, not truth. Relief. Every time someone avoids shame by blaming you, their nervous system calms down temporarily. This reduction in discomfort acts as a reward, and rewarded behaviors repeat. This is called negative reinforcement. The removal of emotional pain strengthens the behavior that removed it, even if the behavior is destructive. Over time, this becomes automatic, not calculated, conditioned. The brain learns, distort reality to reduce emotional pain to repeat. And eventually, they stop seeing the distortion, because to their nervous system, it works. But understanding this creates a deeper question. How do you protect yourself without becoming hardened, without losing your own emotional clarity? There is a way, but it starts with understanding something subtle. You cannot regulate someone else's nervous system, only your own. Here's the first principle. Separate intent from impact. What to do? Stop trying to prove they're wrong emotionally. Why it works in the brain. When someone feels emotionally threatened, their prefrontal cortex, the logical part, goes offline. Their limbic system takes over. Logic cannot penetrate a nervous system in defense mode. Example. Instead of saying you're overreacting, you say nothing. You disengage. Not to surrender truth, but to protect your own nervous system from entering the same threat loop. You stop feeding the cycle, and something changes. Not in them, in you. Second principle. Stop seeking validation from someone unable to give it. What to do? Notice the impulse to explain yourself repeatedly, why it works in the brain. Your brain seeks social reassurance to reduce uncertainty, but inconsistent validation strengthens anxiety through something called intermittent reinforcement, the same mechanism that makes gambling addictive. Example, you explain yourself once, calmly. If they distort it, you do not chase correction endlessly. You let reality remain intact inside you, even if they reject it. This protects your internal stability. You stop outsourcing your reality. Third principle, regulate your body before responding. What to do? Pause. Slow your breathing. Why it works in the brain. Your nervous system is contagious. This is called co-regulation. If you absorb their emotional chaos, your amygdala activates too, and you lose clarity. Example, instead of reacting immediately to an accusation, you wait, even 10 seconds. This prevents emotional hijacking and preserves cognitive control. You remain grounded, even when they are not. Fourth principle, accept patterns instead of chasing exceptions. What to do? Observe repeated behavior over time, not isolated moments of kindness. Why it works in the brain. Your brain is biased toward hope. It remembers positive moments more vividly through dopamine reinforcement. This can override pattern recognition. Example, someone apologizes after hurting you but repeats the same behavior again and again. Instead of trusting the apology, you trust the pattern. Patterns reveal nervous system defaults, not temporary emotions. And this clarity frees you. Here's the integration. Toxic behavior is not random cruelty. It is a nervous system stuck in survival mode, a mind trying to avoid emotional extinction. But here's the truth most people miss. Understanding the mechanism does not require enduring the damage. Compassion does not require proximity. You can understand the storm without standing in the rain. The most important shift happens internally. You stop asking, how do I fix them? And start asking, how do I protect my clarity? Because your nervous system learns from what you tolerate, just like theirs. If you tolerate distortion, your brain learns instability is normal. If you protect clarity, your brain learns safety is possible. This is how cycles end, not through confrontation, but through non-participation. And something quiet begins to happen. You stop shrinking. You stop over-explaining. You stop abandoning yourself to preserve connection, because you realize the healthiest nervous system in the room defines reality, not the loudest one, not the most emotional one, the most regulated one. Toxic people live in constant internal noise, constant threat, constant distortion. But you don't have to join them there. You can remain here, clear, grounded, intact. And when you do, something unexpected happens. You stop feeling confused, because confusion was never your weakness. It was the signal that your nervous system was detecting something misaligned. And now you trust it, not to judge, not to hate, but to see clearly. And sometimes clarity is the quietest form of freedom.